Welcome to the Build and Inspire podcast. We meet incredible people building amazing things, so you'll be inspired to build what you're passionate about.
Spot.
Yeah, happy to have you here. I just joined like a couple weeks ago and it feels like home.
Well, I got to get on the terrace. First of all, we got to get a picture there before I leave.
Well, I mean, there are views of the east, west, north, and south. It's pretty
of
amazing.
New Jersey, right?
You can see Jersey.
I mean,
you're home.
As long as I see New Jersey, I always feel like
Jersey
power.
Strong.
Yeah, exactly. And Jersey strong forever.
Fist pump.
Yes, I mean,
Or fist bump.
You know, fist pump.
Pump.
Yes,
But
because you're like
fist.
Bump, yeah, but they can't see us, but like my hair,
Your hair, New Jersey hair, yes.
my New Jersey hair, right? My hand is going up because you're pumping.
Yes.
Remember, we don't pump our own. Well, you're from Jersey.
We don't pump. I am from Jersey, and I always actually enjoy having someone pump my own gas.
That is true. I had this conversation yesterday, and people are like, "Are you afraid?" I'm like, "No."
Afraid of what?
Exactly. I don't want to get out of my car. It's cold. It's raining.
It's cold. It's raining, and yeah, I mean, let's just embrace our state.
Exactly. I love New Jersey.
Yeah.
So, Jay, you and I have known each other now for like 3 years.
Wow.
4 years.
It's been 3-4 years?
I think so.
Oh my God. It seems like forever.
Something like that. And you and I met while I was actually trying to sell technology to you while you were at Mastercard.
That's correct.
And even though you didn't end up buying anything from me, I think you and I just became...
I bought into you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm turning red right now.
I know. I can see. You're wearing a pink shirt.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's peach.
It's like a peach
You're
pink.
You're changing some sort of color to be more similar to the shirt.
Yeah. But one of the things that brought us together, really, at least, we were always friends, but what really made us really, really close, like I consider you one of my best friends right now, is you were inspired to build something new, a new type of agency that's really just changing the way you work with clients, the way agencies work, and especially in this world where agencies are going through massive changes. Basically, we have the Accentures, Deloittes of the world coming after their business. There's a lot of people bringing in things internally. So tell us about what you're building, why you're building it, and what inspires you.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, Leo. And actually, it's very strange because about a year ago, right at this moment, was the time when I left my previous employer.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I had a decision to make. And the decision to make was, do I follow a traditional path or do I create something on my own?
Mm-hmm.
This time of year is not necessarily the best time to search for a job.
Sure.
It's the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And in the fall, budgets aren't there and people's mindsets aren't there.
Sure.
Right? And it's not like people are waiting to hire me.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I went on a little bit of a journey and I decided to ask a lot of my friends, including you, a lot of questions. And what I did was I wrote them down, the questions and the answers, and I kept them all in my little Google Keep app.
Mm-hmm.
And as I talked, about 80% of the conversations I had were pretty much follow the path.
Yeah.
The path defined by the man.
Sure.
And then every so often I would get these really earth-shattering types of conversations, like the conversations we had, Leo.
Yeah, and by the path, by the man, you mean like you're the 9 to 5.
The 9 to 5.
Let's drive to work.
You're going to go to work and you're going to be promoted and you'll get your raise and you're going to be happy.
Sure.
and all that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's not, right?
I mean, I have plenty of friends that are doing quite well in that world, but for me, I wanted something more. And as I talked to people, I started to notice trends.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed, we're sitting here in this workplace and workspace, and there's this entrepreneurial energy. It's an energy that's contagious. And I saw that, and I noticed that all these people are walking around outside during working hours. What is it that they're doing?
What do you do all day?
What do you do all day?
Yeah.
And then I noticed that there was a trend that was leaning towards this idea that an infrastructure is not it's not a necessity.
Sure.
You don't need an infrastructure in order to succeed in business.
Yeah. Especially today.
Especially today. recording a professional podcast
Yep.
with something you bought on Amazon.
That is true.
That is true. And you shouldn't be embarrassed about
No,
that.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You should actually be proud of yourself. And so the barriers to entry are lower. The other thing that I was noticing in all these people that I was talking to is that I had a lot in common with a lot of the people that I was talking to, whether it was an agency person or a person that I work with in my job in the corporate environment.
Sure.
A professor, a friend, past students that I was in class with. People that were trying to do things on their own were lonely.
Yeah, it's true. It's hard being an entrepreneur. Even if you're at a bigger organization, being the CEO or any part of leadership, it could get lonely up there as well.
It could get lonely. And the other thing that I noticed, and remember, this is not just me coming up with this. This is me talking to people and saying, so what's on your mind?
Yeah.
And listening.
Yeah.
And when I listened, what I gathered from these people is that a lot of times the skills that they bring to the table are not enough.
What do you mean?
Meaning, if you're going into a client and your expertise is market research, that's just part of the marketing mix.
Yeah, that's true.
So I went to a workshop in January. So we're fast forward to January. And in January, I went to a workshop, and the workshop was called Reverse Engineering Your Career from Your Passion.
I actually didn't know you went to this.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't know you.
I went to this workshop.
All right.
And it was at Columbia University where I got my grad degree. And the speaker, his name is Pedro Manrique. He's in the Collective. And he laid out something that was very simple. If you define your core values, you know who you are and you know where you're going.
Amazing.
Right?
Your North Star.
Your North Star. And so at that moment, after talking to lots of people, in the cold of January, I wrote down my core values.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I just did it that day. It was years in the making.
Yeah.
And those core values are candor, curiosity, and collaboration.
That's inspiring.
You're supposed to say the 3 C's.
Yeah, the 3 C's.
Everyone says the 3 C's. But anyway, those 3 C's are things
Trademark.
that's trademark, yeah. Those 3 C's are things that make me tick. They're 3 C's that you have.
Yep.
They're 3 C's that I appreciate in friends. But I also realized that I wasn't getting those 3 C's in many other aspects of my life.
Sure. No, that makes sense. So in 2 sentences, what is the Collective?
What is the Collective? The Collective is an organization made up of individuals that is greater, the sum of the parts is greater than the individual pieces. Yep. So we have people that are experts at creative. We have people that are expert writers. We have people that are expert PR people.
Yep.
And all the people are my personal friends and colleagues that I know and trust and have worked with in the past. And I knew that they would all benefit from the community we're creating. Yep. And more importantly, the customers.
That is true. Full disclosure, I am a partner at the Creative. I'm also an advisor
at the
Collective. Sorry. Yeah. And then basically, I've already seen lots of really beneficial things come out of it. I wanted to also teach a class online that I'd resell. And I went on there and I asked the question and I got 20 something responses and people wrote paragraphs after paragraphs.
Why do they do that? Because they care. What we're creating is an organization that is different than networking today. Networking today is, if you think about it, going on LinkedIn, it's every person for themselves.
Yeah.
What we have here is the Collective started off as 15 people. After that time I defined my core values, I sent an email, and you were one of the people. You actually planned the first meeting with me.
Yeah, I remember.
And we invited those people. They all attended that meeting, which made me very proud. And we said, don't know what this is going to become, but we know that we're going to create something together.
Yeah.
And so when we established that community, the 15 people back forth, I have a question about this, I have a question about that. And there was some sort of generosity that exists that doesn't exist when you email someone and you say, hey, Jay, I could really use your help on something. And then next second you want to buy this?
Yeah.
This is
It's
more
inauthentic.
about genuine, authentic connections and building something together and sticking together.
Yeah. No, 100%. So you were a buyer for a very long time, right? You worked with agencies, technology vendors, so on and so on and so on. Do you think that other clients that were or are in your position are looking for something like this? Like, did you feel that you always wanted to work with someone who was more genuine, even if the work was great and they were less genuine?
I mean, I think that there is no shortage of genuine people that I've come across in my life, and some of the most, the people that make an impression on me are still a part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have many friends that I've met in the same way that I've met you, that are an important part of my life. But as I've said in the past, the team that you work with is the most important part of the mix. And the other thing is the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so if you take the team and the actual individuals that are creating, and then you have a toxic culture, you're not going to get what you need. If you have one person that's super, but that person reports to someone that's not super, it doesn't work out. What I'm trying to do here, and what this group is trying to do, is to establish something where you can count on the fact that you're going to get a senior person, and I'm not senior, right? We're not like elderly.
Sure.
No offense to anyone who is a senior citizen, but you're going to get a person with a roughly 15, 20 or more years of experience.
Yeah. Battle tested. They know their stuff.
Delivered results for top clients, top agencies. And this person is your partner to create your strategy. Mm-hmm. But then and this person has a real full pulse on the landscape, the technology, the tools, the marketing elements.
And they care.
Right? That's because the most important part. They're curious.
Having worked at an agency, or actually working at agencies most of my career, at least 50% of my career, as much as I love my agency experience and my agency friends and the agency world, sometimes you're put on accounts that you don't necessarily want to be on. But with you and your organization, people, I guess, get to pick and choose, or
they get to pick and choose, and I get to pick and choose. If you don't embody the values that are part of this organization, you're not going to be a part of the organization. Mm-hmm. That's number one. And if as a customer or a potential customer, I look at you and I just don't get the feeling that there's that trust and that connection and that collaboration.
That's a good point.
It's my choice.
That's hard. Right? For any entrepreneur, right? Like,
especially
someone's willing to give you money. Like, Jay, here's $50,000, whatever it may be, to do something.
And I need it.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, I should take this. No, it's, in my experience, and as you're saying, it's always better to follow your gut. When you take
your gut, and you talk to your friends and the people in the group, and you sort of put it out there, and it should be pretty clear. It happens in dating a lot too, But that's where candor comes in.
Sure.
Candor is caring personally and challenging directly, and if something just doesn't feel right, then that's the time to have the conversation.
I like that.
I wanted to continue though that. That account person knows the other people in the group based on the fact that we're interacting on a daily basis. Sure. And that account person then is able to pick the subject matter experts to fulfill.
So real casting.
Yeah.
This is the person.
This is not, you're not going to get the same person for every single project.
Yeah, because not everyone, even if they're fantastic copywriters, they may not be right for this specific project.
Right. And at an agency, what would happen is we have an account director, we have a planner, we have a strategist, and we have a copywriter. And you would get the same ones for every single project.
Yeah.
And, and they would adapt, and it didn't make sense economically for you to have a different one.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do is we're trying to have this level of consistency and sort of like a model for how we do it. And then we're bringing in the best of the best. And if someone isn't quite the right fit, we're going to adjust and adapt and iterate.
Amazing. So how are you meeting people nowadays?
Well, we're sitting here at Workville. And how did I get to Workville? Kathy, who's a member of the Collective, introduced me to Shane, who is a member here at Workville, who invited me to this very room we're in right now.
Amazing.
To have a meeting where I brought another member of the Collective, and we had a discussion about potential opportunities. And I thought to myself, I needed this place to just sort of really be able to be in the right mindset to work.
Yeah. There's nothing like being around people. Having worked from home for a very long time or remotely.
Yes.
I even just love being at a coffee shop.
Love being at a coffee
way
shop?
better than being at home.
And there's a reason why you called me all the time when you were working from home.
Because
you
we
wanted
Skype all the time.
You wanted to talk.
Yeah, 100%.
But so that's just an example. So I know Kathy from Mastercard. Kathy introduced me to Shane, who worked with her at an advertising agency, who brought me to this place. And then since I've been here, there have been 3 or 4 meaningful connections that I've made.
Just right here.
Just in this space.
Wow.
And it has something to do with energy. I mean, this energy, and it's like, is it a coincidence that I'm working with a person who sells essential oils, and in this space, there is someone that manages distribution of beauty products to Amazon and Sephora and other brands like that?
That's amazing. It really is amazing. It's serendipitous.
And you have to just, like, the people that are here are not the kind of people that are like, don't interrupt me.
Yeah. So speaking of energy, one of the things I love, and I know you and I talked a lot about, but it's really, really inspirational. When I look at your social media accounts professionally and your personal ones, in many ways I can't tell the difference. And I say that in a really positive way. Like, you took a trip to Thailand.
Yes, I did.
And basically the Collective's Instagram, Facebook, you name it, pretty much had pictures of your trip, and you were tying it together with business. Like, what inspired you to do that, and is it working?
It's working. And what inspired me to do that was the realization that I made that what we've been talking about this whole podcast is something that cannot be separated from me. Mm-hmm. I mean, the people, the one thing that was in common, you remember this on the first call, we said, tell me who you are, tell me what you do. Yeah. And then everyone started introducing how they know Jay. I didn't ask them to do that. But it was sort of what happened. And so whether it's me or whether it's you, Leo, and what you've decided to do, those things are totally connected. Mm-hmm. And what I've noticed with 2 of my clients is that their products have to connect with their personal brand, because the reason why they've established their beauty product or their essential oil, or whether it be an advertising agency or anyone who we work for, has to be baked in something that is authentic and genuine and real. And people are looking for that. So if you look at Tom's, Warby Parker, or any of these other brands, they're all based on something that is real.
It's human, right? Human. Like, they're able to build that affinity because they're transparent.
That's right.
And they encompass the 3 C's.
And my trip to Thailand was a very important part of my life. And a lot of people were saying to me before I went, like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. I actually encouraged you to. I wanted
encouraged me to do it, but I was
like, just do a yoga retreat.
Yeah, you encouraged me to take that journey. I actually took my first trip to Kripalu based on that, and then you encouraged me on this one too. But here's the thing.
Thailand's amazing, by the way, just in general.
It was great. I mean, I had the time of my life, but I also didn't see it as work. That's the thing. Every Monday morning I wake up and I don't say to myself, this is a drag, I have to go to work. Yeah. There are other people in my life that say that work is their number 5 priority. Yeah. That's my brother. He says that. Wow. And maybe we should edit that out, because we don't want his employer hearing that. Yeah. But,
it's going to get that popular.
Yeah, it's going to get that popular. But anyway, the reality is that a lot of people get excited about other things. I was going through a tough time in my life. Mm-hmm. At the exact...
I remember.
A personal tough time in my life. At the exact time where I decided that I'm going to invite 15 people into my life. And it was magical.
That's inspirational.
Checking in on me. Yeah. But not just checking in on me, because they were also participating because they believed that what we were creating together would be good for them as well.
We cared, right? We'll continue to care.
And we all, and that is great. I mean, it's just so great.
Because I think one of the main differences is not regardless of where you work, but when you work at bigger organizations, right? At the end of the day, you just see it as the big organization. I'm just going to throw something randomly out there, like Microsoft, right? Whether I'm there or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? Like there are thousands of people. What does it really mean? Right? And when we're looking at the collective, whether you're a client, a member, whatever, like I see Jay, right? I see the people in it. So I'm more accountable, right? And it feels real. And I see the successes, I see the failures, I see the progress. And that changes everything, right? Because if I don't do something, or if I'm not at a meeting, or I'm not making introductions, or whatever it may be, I'm not letting the collective down. I'm letting, a real person, Jasmine, Jay, etc.
You're right. And that is very, very powerful. And it's not to say, again, that taking another path is wrong for anyone, but but it is to say that it's okay to fail.
Yeah,
and you could own it. One time in an interview, I was asked the question, "When's the last time you failed?" And my answer was not the most politically correct answer.
Okay, but it was real.
It was real. I mean, it doesn't mean I was going to get that job.
Yeah.
But the answer was, I haven't.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that I haven't failed, because if I take the opportunity to learn from what it is that I did, and then iterate and improve based on it, it's progress. Like you could say I failed, and then you could put your head down and just resign. Yeah, that's failure.
Sure. Yeah.
But when you say, oh my God, I've been punched. And you ever hear that song? I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Get back up again.
Never going to beat me down.
Yeah.
It's that concept that keeps us going. It's that concept that we're constantly looking to improve upon something in our lives, and improve our relationships, improve our posture, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But just because something doesn't go right doesn't mean that we're talking black and white thinking here.
That's true. I want to go back to something you've now pretty much alluded to, or pretty much said twice already, is that this is not the life for everyone, and that's okay, right? I think too many times, whether it's on social media or even having a cocktail with someone, we always put entrepreneurs like, that's the life we want, right? And if I don't feel that way, there's something wrong, right? Or if I don't want to work remotely, there's something wrong with me, right? And I always tell people that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, right? Like, to each their own. Everyone's going to find their own path and find what makes you happy and find that. And that, to me, that's inspirational. Because if you tell me, I love going to my 9 to 5 every single day, and I have the opportunity to come home and spend time with my kids, or focus on my hobby that I love, and that's really what I focus on, and that gives me the opportunity to do that, then that's amazing. That's fantastic, and no one should ever look down on that.
It's all about your relationship with yourself and the respect you have for yourself. When I was at the 9 to 5, I never went to the gym.
Yeah.
I don't know why I never went to the gym, because I would watch senior executives go to the gym all the time and spend a lot of time at the gym. Now that I have my own firm, and now that I've added yoga into my life, Monday comes around, and at 11 o'clock I go to the 12 p.m. yoga class. I leave a half hour early to get there. I get ready. I spend an hour and a half, and I don't feel bad about it. And then I come back, and I'm able to focus more.
Yeah.
When I do that,
it's hard, right? Like, there's so much science behind this, and Matt Wurst, who was my old boss, and you actually met, and we're gonna have on the podcast soon, and he actually posted about how bad multitasking is and all that kind of good stuff. And it's hard, right? Because I think multitasking or pushing through that feeling sometimes feels good, right? Like, I feel good that I'm pushing through, even though I'm tired, even though I know that I'm not in flow, right? Even though I know I'm not creative, I'm going to push through because I feel like I need to be behind that computer.
Well, you're checking the box.
Yes, right? And it's hard because it feels good in one way, right? Even though it's stressful, it feels good.
Sure, because you don't want to let someone down, but if you look at it from a bigger perspective, you may be letting someone down if you're not exploring it creatively and in your best frame of mind.
You're 100% correct. And that's what I try to focus on. I try to focus on it's not only hurting myself, I'm hurting the work, right? And the people that I'm accountable to. So I try my best now, and I know, and again, this is not even new science. People have known this forever, right? Now I try my hardest to get up and take a walk. And when I come back, I'm like ready to work, reinvigorated, like, all right.
It's also nice that you have an Apple Watch that tells you to do that.
Oh, I don't have one yet.
Oh, I do.
No, yeah.
So like literally, they're telling me that you should be up for 12 hours during the day, and when you are sedentary for too long, you get a little reminder to get up.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I've not bought one. I've wanted one, but I'm always afraid like I'm gonna constantly be looking at it.
Well,
like,
I mean,
here's another text message.
You should be afraid of that, because I believe that.
Yeah. Does it happen to you?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also know that there are times to disconnect. Like, as I said, my computer's in the shop.
Yeah.
And I showed up here with no backpack.
Wow. And
just my cell phone, and I'm here, and I'm actually enjoying this day of doing something that's different.
Well, this is amazing. I mean, also, like, this is just two friends hanging out. Right?
Two friends hanging out. This is a real conversation.
Yeah.
This is good. This is actually, yes, you're taping an episode here, but we have this conversation all the time.
Yeah, 100%. So one of the things I always like to talk about too and ask people is who inspires you in your life, or who's inspired you in the past? And this doesn't have to be anybody who's necessarily famous. It could be your dad, cousin, brother, mom, sister. Like, is there anybody in your life that you look to or towards for inspiration, or who has inspired you before? Yeah,
there is, and I'm not going to name an individual.
Sure.
But I will name, the people that I've worked with. I mean, what our relationship is like, and how often we talk. And that I would answer the phone for you, or the text message, or whatever it is, and vice versa. And I would say that the people in the group, I go to different people for different things.
Yeah.
And that really has inspired me. And it's really funny. Remember I told you about 80% of the stuff that I heard was sort of predictable, and then 20% was, earth-shattering to me. Somehow, some way, I have a very crystal clear recollection of certain mind-shattering things that were said to me and where I was.
Yeah, I like that. That makes sense, right? There's different situations that you're inspired from different people.
Yeah, and I just remember I was talking to Jocelyn when I was in Harlem, and she said it's really important to be, not do it on your own.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Sabrina, and she said, "You're forming a collective," as I was going into yoga. And you and I have had conversations along those lines where sort of things just came together, and so I think it's important to have a network of people you could trust, but not, you don't need a network of 6,000 people.
No, definitely. I think you hit something that's really important. It's also the person it's good to be vulnerable and be around people that allow you to do that without judgment.
There's the professor that I had, the first professor I had in grad school, Don Bates, who I invited to the group. Don, I used to reach out to him in between jobs.
Got it.
And
I thought you were actually going to talk to him as if he's like listening right now.
Yeah, well,
Don, please join the collective if you haven't already.
Well, he is. He is.
He isn't. All right, fantastic. I need to say hello.
Yeah, say hello to Don.
I will.
And so Don and I used to meet, so like in between CIT and Mastercard, and then we would meet. But every time we would meet, we would start at a coffee shop, and by the end of the day, where we were having drinks, and maybe we even had lunch together. Like, it was like we would go from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. coming up with the wackiest ideas of like what we could do, how we could do it, and who we could connect with, and that kind of sort of like generosity.
Yeah.
Because guess what? He told me a story that I've repeated many times. He told me of a person that's a professional in the PR world.
Okay.
That when he goes to lunch with someone that's a friend, and the friend asks him for advice, he after the lunch he sends the friend a bill.
Interesting. Okay, I was actually going to ask you about that. Like, there are two polarizing school of thoughts. Basically, give away advice, don't give it away advice. Meet with people, don't meet with people. Like,
I don't think that you should charge. I think that's just sort of it's sort of a way of establishing that there's value for what this guy was giving. Like this conversation that you and I have, the conversations we have all the time, we're doing it as friends.
Yeah.
But there are people that call me and say, "Hey, Jay, can you help me?" And there's you could look at it in many ways. One is, could I charge this person?
Yeah.
I haven't been successful at charging people for that.
No, I mean, yeah.
But the other thing that I've noticed is that there are people that come to me and they ask me for my time, and I give it. And then what I do to them is I say, "Hey, we've talked for about an hour. I've given you some food for thought around ideas and stuff like that, and we talked about the meaning of core values. Mm-hmm. Your assignment is to write your core values."
I love that.
And then I say to them, and 1 in 10 actually come back with something.
Wow.
As a
1 in
challenge.
10, okay.
1 in 10.
Yeah,
Meaning,
I thought it would be higher than that.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like they're all the time. I have these conversations with people. They're like, "Oh, give me this. Can you tell me this? Can you tell me this?" And then they leave, and then and they do nothing with what it is. And it's like, not only are they getting value from my time, but when they create the core values or whatever it is that's most appropriate for that situation, they're putting a stake in the ground, some ownership in what they're doing.
Yeah. So why do you think it's so low, though? Like, why do you think people go off and do something different, or like something
they want a shortcut? They want the easy way out. They want to be able to push a button and have it work. They want to be able to apply for a job. And why is no one hiring me?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That world is gone. We're not going to go into a whole rabbit hole of discussing what it's like to get a job through all these systems and all that stuff. But that world is gone. That's a whole other podcast. That's a whole other podcast. Yeah. But what I'm saying, and what I've said to a lot of people, is that when you're looking for something, you're not asking, "Hey, can you get me a job?" You're asking someone to connect you with someone else, so that when the time is right, they could think of you. You're playing a long game.
You're planting seeds.
Planting seeds. Right?
Planting seeds.
Bija. Yeah. That's the essential oil we're working on. It means seed.
Wow.
And you're planting seeds, and 2 months from now, maybe someone will say, "I remember when I was talking to Jay, and Jay said he knew this."
Or 5 years from now.
5 years. And isn't that cool to have a life where like all the seeds are sprouting? That's
amazing. No, I mean, if you look at Build and Inspire, the blog, the podcast, everything, like, I always give things away. Like so very well, I've been in sales most of my life, and I focus a lot on sales right now. It's pretty much my main focus. Mm-hmm. And I always like to tell people, I'm not motivated by money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm probably the worst salesperson, right? I'm not motivated by money.
Yeah, that's why you didn't close the deal with me.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right?
No, but I understand.
That's never hurt. It's actually just
you're motivated by relationships and
good work.
And good work. And people can sniff out inauthentic people that will say what you're saying and not 100%. Believe it.
Yeah. No, I've been in meetings where I'm selling my particular product and they're telling me what they need. I'm like, "Oh, you need our competitor." Right? And I've been in there with sales leaders, with executives, and like, "What are you doing? What? No." Yeah. I'm like, it doesn't help us to sell them something they don't need, right?
Yeah, I used the product the other day. I bought it at a dollar store. Uh-huh. It was a form of liquid dish soap.
Okay.
And on the product, it said, "Made with Oxy."
Okay. Like Oxy, like the cleaner? Oxy cleaner? Like
made with Oxygen in little letters. So you fell for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They wanted to have, like, oxygen is a word.
Yeah.
And so they wanted people to think that it was made with Oxy, which is a proprietary trademark, patented.
They used to sell it on TV.
Sure.
Yep.
And like that, there's a good association. But then when someone reads the product and sees that all they did was trick you?
Yeah, then no, thank you. Bye.
I'm not buying that again.
And now we know it. You're saying it on the podcast.
Oh, now we know. This is going to go viral. that there's a company that is
at the dollar store.
At the dollar store.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the worst example. But the point is that
it happens at all levels.
It happens at all levels.
Right.
If you're being inauthentic and you bring someone in, you may make a few bucks, but eventually it's going to catch up with you.
It's short-term thinking versus long-term thinking.
Yes.
Right? And long-term thinking will always get you ahead. And, one of the things that I always like to ask people too is what demotivates you sometimes, right? And I think it's good to focus on quote unquote the negatives, because then we could build tactics and strategies to fix them, right? And I do this even in sales. Like, what don't you like about the product? What don't you like about, I joke, like about me and my hair, right? And my Jersey hair, because I want to know what's negative so then we could fix it, right? Too many people are afraid of it. So, and like you mentioned, sometimes it's hard being an entrepreneur, right? Or a solopreneur, or getting up and doing things. Like, how do you fight that? And like, what brings you down sometimes?
What brings you down sometimes is sort of like, having pure thinking and believing in what it is that I'm doing, but then knowing that, people are not in control of their destiny.
Yeah.
And knowing that, the person that I talked to really believed in me and what I could do, but then the system takes over.
Sure.
And, as a result of some factor that's beyond my control or their control, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And so I think that what demotivates me is sort of this, there's a couple things. When people make assumptions, that's what they believe, but it's not true most of the time.
Yeah.
Did you see what they were doing there? They were doing that to spite me.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't.
Well, people, right, I heard this quote once, like, you're the main character of your own story.
Yes.
Right? And people are always looking at it like they were doing something for me. And most of the time, people weren't even thinking about you.
Right? That's right. I mean, there's so many assumptions that you could make about, why something happened, why something didn't happen. And at the end of the day, you'll never know if it's right or wrong. And so if I think it's really important for people to just take an inventory of like the things that they're thinking and own them, as opposed to just using them as an excuse. Oh, there's no chance that I could do this.
Sure.
That's too hard.
Yeah.
That bothers me. I woke up, and despite all of the people that were saying, Jay, wouldn't it be easier if you just went back to one of those guys that you worked with before?
Sure.
Wouldn't it be easier? What are you going to do about health insurance? What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? That sort of negative energy just brought me down. And I got a phone conversation. I got back from Thailand, and I got a phone call from someone, and she said to me, Jay, now that you're back, it's time to start making some money. And I'm like, do you think that I don't realize that?
Yeah. No.
I know that.
Yeah.
And I know that it will happen in the right time.
I agree. I mean, and you have fantastic clients already.
I do. I have several paying clients that I love spending time with, that are being very generous with me, and I'm being generous with them. They're not just clients; they're partners.
Yeah.
I'm not a vendor.
No, I see you taking pictures with them and posting it on Instagram when you're just either hanging out or at a business meeting. And even when it's a business meeting, truthfully, and this is amazingly positive, it doesn't even seem like a business meeting. It looks like you guys are just hanging out.
I was out last night with my client Chris Sorby, and we had a serious business meeting, or as serious as they get with them. I mean, it wasn't it was we had business to talk about. Yeah. And it wasn't before long that we had some Prosecco, and then it wasn't before long that we went to the patio and had some more, and and that ability to connect on a business level and a personal level, and really leave the night as just having fun, and then go out with your team and celebrate. Yeah, that's good.
That's amazing. One of the other things, and you've inspired me because it's something that I'm very interested in, and I'm actually actively pursuing and hope to tell people about somewhat soon, is through this whole experience, you've actually become a professor.
I have.
Yeah. Was this something you would have had the time or would have thought about doing, or any possibility when you were at your 9 to 5?
It's something that I always wanted to do. It's just something that I didn't have the mental capacity to consider at that point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I probably could have figured it out, but I just wasn't in the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
And so isn't it funny that I'm on this trip and I get an email from someone at the university that I'll be teaching at that says, have you ever considered this? And I say, as a matter of fact, I have. And it's so great that you emailed me right now because I'd like to pursue this.
Yeah.
And then I went and, had my interview, and now I'm a professor. And as I plan my class and think about the parallels between what I'm going to be teaching students about social media and marketing and what we're doing, and think about the organization that we've built together when you, Leo, could come in and talk about the Oreo moment and what went into that. And I could have a lawyer come in to talk about the law of social media. I could have someone talk about paid media. I could talk about creativity. Yeah. And it's sort of like an embodiment of what we're building. And the course that I'm going to teach is actually, I've been studying syllabi. Okay. And I've been noticing that there's a lot of stuff out there where it's like, hey, I'm going to teach a social media course, and the project is going to be to create a Facebook page. Mm-hmm. That's not the course I'm going to teach. The course I'm going to teach is going to be about storytelling, value, how does social media connect?
The human connection.
The human connection, but not only that, how do you execute in an environment that doesn't make the assumption that you're the one posting?
Oh, yeah.
Business environments, advertising environments, content creation, and how do they all seamlessly work together?
Right?
Yeah, because
which is the way it needs to be.
Well, sure. I mean, yeah, it's great if you're really good at your Instagram channel, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be effective at the business of social media.
Yeah. No, that is true. And I think a lot of times, even from an agency perspective, right, they're not looking at things holistically.
Yeah. I've experienced that in my career, and the biggest thing that a client or an agency could do is to focus on the brief, and to focus on the audience, and to focus on the product and how the product should be highlighted. Like, you can't go off and say, "Hey, I'm going to just create some posts," and not know that stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. So, and I want to tell you what I'm thinking in my head before you answer the question, but where do you see the collective in 5-10 years? Because I'm thinking we have a commune, we move out to somewhere.
No, we're going to go to an island. Not in Pennsylvania.
We compost.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with Pennsylvania, and there's nothing wrong with composting.
Well, it's too cold. Maybe can we do it No,
I was thinking of a tropical island.
All right, then we just live there, work there.
We live there, work there,
grow our own food.
Yeah, maybe. But at the end of the day, the part of the beauty of this organization is the principles it was founded upon, which is this sort of virtual nature. So I see the place we are at now. The part of the value and beauty of it is that I'm paying my membership fee, and there's an ability for people to come in and come in and join me. But we also have the ability to scale and get a small office, and then a bigger office, and then a bigger office. But that's the thing. I don't want to necessarily.
You may not even need an office.
We might not need it, but I do like the idea that here we have conference rooms.
We have the option, but not where someone needs to come in.
I like the idea of working with clients and bringing them here and feeling that energy. But I do feel that what we at a certain point we're gonna have we're gonna refine our models and the way we work. Yeah. I also see possibility of a membership based organization. The members of the collective now are not paying anything, and they're getting a lot of value. Yeah. I mean, I think that there are people in this world that would really appreciate and pay money to be a part of this community. Now that's a difficult thing to consider.
I don't think it's that difficult, to be honest. You have overhead, right?
I have overhead.
You're paying for the Facebook workplace. You're paying for
internet hosting, all the things, advertising, all that stuff. So I think I think there's something there. Yeah. And what's going to be hard, the thing that I'm struggling with the most at this point is you meet people and people are like, Jay, I want to work with you. And I'm like, well, I want to work with you too.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I'm not going to be able to be the lead on most of the projects.
Yeah.
And so what I need is to work with people that I could trust, that have the values of the group and the best interest of the clients in their mind, and grow like that.
Well, I'll tell you, I'd absolutely be happy to pay. And you and I have talked about this.
We've talked
before.
about that very early.
I happily give money to be part of this because I do see the value in it. And again, just from a straight business perspective, I know it costs you money.
There's another factor here, and it goes back to the point that I made with regards to asking someone to do something, an assignment, after I give them advice. When you pay for something, you take it more seriously.
Agreed.
It's 100%. It's like this podcast. I mean, if someone listened to this is a very, people will listen to it.
Yeah.
If someone listens to it,
we'll get some sponsors soon.
We're giving a lot of merch. Yeah, we're giving a lot of secrets here, and there's no shortage of people giving a lot of secrets out.
Yeah,
the question is
doing it.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, exactly. I always
are
tell
you
people,
going to
share your
invest the
ideas.
time? Like, how long is this thing going to be? And is someone going to spend an hour to listen to us, or 2 hours? Who knows?
And one of the things I always tell people, there's no other Jay.
Yes.
Right? Like, your journey, your experiences, your knowledge has brought you here for you to be able to do the things you do. And the same thing for me, everyone. Every single individual is unique, has their own unique experiences. So there's no other Jay.
That's right.
You could share everything you want, everything about the collective.
I'm not afraid to. And I've been in environments where people are. Yeah. And as we all know, it's like it's what you do with it. So if you're not willing to, I have something great to say on Facebook. It doesn't mean it's going to go get attention.
I felt like that earlier on in my career, where I was at JWT, J. Walter Thompson, and I'd be afraid to share my ideas, and it'd be like a creative meeting. I didn't want to share my ideas. Like, that sounds crazy, right? But I was afraid of someone else stealing it, because it has happened before. Right? And someone came to me once and said, listen, if you had that one great idea, you're going to have many other ideas. Yeah. And if there are people stealing ideas, they don't have any good ideas, or, there are farther and further between. So share your ideas. You will have more.
You'll be able to sleep better at night.
Exactly. Right. And then also, at the end of the day, why would I not want to, that whole meeting was to share ideas for a client, right? Why should I feel any kind of insecurity?
But if you're more connected to the work, and you share the idea, and you sort of are able to say, okay, now that I shared that idea, I'm going to be able to see it through. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, no, it is. So before I let you go, or we go over at the terrace over here, just give you an opportunity to plug anything you're working on, any clients, even, I think most importantly too, if someone does want to join the collective, what can they do? What should they do?
Well, the website is the-collective.nyc, and a lot of detail is on there about what we do, how we do it, who we are. And if you're interested in joining, you could contact us, and we'll arrange a blood test and a psychological screen.
Yeah, I had to go through some crazy things.
Yeah, just kidding.
Yeah, hair samples, everything.
No, but we do take it seriously, because it's remember, this was based on people that I've known. Yeah. And so it's not like I'm going to just, have you fill out a form and let you in.
Sure.
So there's that, and we could talk about that. But if you wanted to work with us as a customer of the collective, I'm happy to spend some time with you and other members of the group, and sort of then determine what it is that you need, and then make a proposal of how we would go about it. Not just in the way that everyone else would go about it. We're talking about following a proprietary methodology to determining what it is that you need and how we're going to fulfill it.
Amazing.
So just reach out to us. And you could also call our phone line. I'm very proud to be using...
it's so old school.
I have a phone number, and I was so excited to create a voiceover using the sounds of Luther Vandross in the background.
Well, you called me, and I was driving.
Yes.
And you're like, I'm going to put you on hold. I'm I'm like, oh wait, let me call him back. And then you call me back 2 seconds later and you're like, no, I wanted you to listen to the hold music.
That's right. So I put him on hold. And so I will put you on hold as well if you want to hear some Luther. But the number is 212-659-2506. So you can call at any time and listen to our professionally recorded voiceover. And we're using an entrepreneurial system.
All right.
Remember, this is so awesome. I don't need to buy some crazy, system.
Yeah.
You could get me at any time, and I'm not hiding it. I'm not making it seem like I'm like whatever. So call me.
Amazing.
The number is 212-659-2506. That's 212-659-2506.
Call now.
212
limited supply.
659-2506.
All right. Bye, everyone. Hope you were inspired to build something amazing.